Michelle Begue joins us now from Bogota, Colombia, to give us some additional insight on this conflict. Michelle, thank you for your report and welcome.
Thank you, Elaine. Good to be with you.
What exactly is this conflict in Colombia over?
Well, the conflict began in the 1960s with the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, which is a leftist rebel group that claims to be fighting for the rights of the poor people in Colombia. Other rebel groups have formed that are leftist and have those same values, supposedly. During this time, also, right-winged paramilitary groups have formed. These are supposed to counter what the FARC has done in a lot of these rural areas of Colombia. They are formed by farmers, small farmers, who are sick of extortions that leftist rebel groups have done in these areas. All this went on for 4 decades during a time when the government wasn't as present in a lot of these rural areas of Colombia. Now, a lot of the armed groups that have formed throughout the years are now backed by narco-trafficking. So drug problems have also sustained this fight throughout the years. And the FARC claims that they have to go towards narco-trafficking because they must fund the fight that they've been fighting throughout the years.
You know, regarding the situation with a soldier being dragged from his post, how damaging is that to the Colombian government? Does it indicate a loss of control on their part?
Yes, definitely. Well, this is a big issue that has been really talked about in the media, and especially this weekend when polls came out showing that the president has gone down in polls. His popularity has gone down significantly. He has been president for the past 2 years, President Juan Manuel Santos, and he hasn't said if he wants to go up for re-election in the next 2 years. But he's going to have to get past this in order to bring his popularity up.
Michelle, why is there such great interest in the land around Cauca province, and why is Toribio at the center of the conflict?
Well, the Cauca province particularly is located on the Pacific coast of Colombia. So this is a perfect gateway, a corridor for drug smuggling for armed groups. This is key. This is key for them. Also, the terrain in this area, it's very mountainous, so it helps the guerrilla warfare that the FARC continues. Also, Cauca province is one of the first places where the FARC really had a hold, a lot of support. So therefore, this is probably going to be, and this is what analysts say, this is probably going to be one of the last places that the FARC has a huge stronghold before this war ends.
Now, Michelle, you mentioned it before, but how much of a role do drugs play in all of this?
The drug problem has fueled the conflict for years, and this is what has maintained a lot of the armed groups. Also, in these small areas like Toribio, we kind of mentioned it in the story, but they're small landowners, and they live in areas that don't have a huge infrastructure. So the people can't really live off of huge farms of production where they can export to major cities. They have very small plots of land that they have to cultivate and live off of, and a lot of them have easily gone to growing coca plants, marijuana plants, because the armed groups are there to fund that type of production, and then they later help to export it. So a lot of the smaller farm owners, indigenous people that live there in the past have fallen towards cultivating and fueling the first part of the drug problem.
Michelle, at the end of your piece, you mentioned that Toribio had gone quiet. Do you get a sense that it will get back to the way it once was?
Well, hopefully it will. What we've seen in the past week is that the clashes between the FARC and the FARC and the military has been going on still, even as we are speaking. And currently, we haven't heard of any injuries or fatalities, but the fighting still continues, and it seems like it's not letting up, even if the indigenous people are rising up and asking that these things stop.
Okay, Michelle Begue, thank you so much for your report and your additional insight from Colombia.